Welcome, mother lovers. That's right. We are back. This is Last Call at McLaren's How I Met Your Mother podcast, and it is officially season 2. That is right. I hope you guys are ready because I know we are. You just got to see our brand new intro video for the show.
I mean, the only thing I can say is give Josh a round of applause for that. He busted his ass. We took an extra week off because, we wanted to make sure it was perfect. And we wanted to make sure that, like a mid-season break, we took a week for ourselves as well. But he is right. Mother lovers, we are back with season 2.
Yes. Season 2, episode 1. Where were we? That's right, John. Where were
you?
Where were we over these last few weeks, John? What were you doing?
Well, I celebrated Thanksgiving with my family. I had a really great meal with my sisters and their respective boyfriends, and I had pretty arm candy that wasn't mine, but I mean, I still got my flirt on with her, and I still got to hold her hand and link my arms and
sounds like a Beatles song almost.
You know what? I'll take it. I mean, John Lennon had it right when he said happiness was the end of a warm gun.
Fair enough. Me, myself, I did not celebrate Thanksgiving with anybody. You were invited. That's true. My daughter, unfortunately, got sick. And she won't eat Thanksgiving food anyways, so I just skipped the holiday altogether.
True.
Yeah, it's true. But, yeah, we're here. I got myself a job in the meantime.
Congratulations to the broski.
What? That's right. A lot of stuff has happened since we recorded last, and but I am excited. Season 2, man. Season freaking 2. We got through a whole season, and we are moving forward in this awesome podcast. I'm so happy to be doing this with you.
Previously on How I Met Your Mother, Ted meets Robin. Robin shoots down Ted. Barney's there. Lily and Marshall break up. Now you're all caught up. Season 2 continues now.
That's right. So, Season 2, Episode 1, Where Were We? Aired September 18th of 2006. Directed, of course, by Pamela Fryman. And written by Carter Bays and Craig Thomas. So, the last few episodes...
Bays, by the way. Or no, it's Craig Thomas. Craig Thomas, by the way, is an amazing man who I don't know if a lot of you guys follow us on Twitter, which if you're not, you should be going to Twitter and finding Last Call HIMYM and liking us. And then you should be heading over to YouTube and subscribing to the channel because that's how you're going to, find us.
That's true.
But that's at Merc and a Movie Blog, by the way.
Yeah.
Merc with a Movie Blog.
Yeah. At Movie Blog Merc on Twitter.
So Carter Thomas actually started
Craig Thomas.
Craig Thomas. Sorry. Craig Thomas started liking a bunch of the stuff that Josh has been posting lately in correspondence with the show, a lot of How I Met Your Mother stuff. If I'm not mistaken, he even went back as far as liking the Wendy the Waitress interview.
Yeah. He followed us, and actually Carter Bays just recently followed us as well.
I mean, look, we're on a roll right now.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to take credit away from the Yellow Umbrella podcast or anything like that, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say we are the How I Met Your Mother podcast aficionados.
There it is. You know what? I can't say that I disagree because I don't. I totally agree. We are the best damn How I Met Your Mother podcast out there.
I mean,
what? Any of you want to, the Yellow Umbrella, hey, beautiful, any of you want to challenge us? Let's do this. We'll throw down. I don't know how. I don't know what the stakes will be, but we'll do it.
How about this? If all of us want to get together for the final episode and do one huge episode for the final episode.
I mean, that would be
How I Met Your Mother, the final podcast for all 3 episodes or all 3 podcasts.
Well, I mean, at least one of them is 3.5 seasons ahead of us. I'm just saying.
So we're just gonna have to start going a lot faster.
I have to
3 episodes per week.
Yep, there it is. Boom. I know there are some people out there who would love that. I'm sure my brain probably would not.
But back to the episode.
Yes. Back to the episode. Like I said, season 2, episode 1, summary reads, Marshall is depressed over his and Lily's breakup. Things get worse when he learns she might be back in town. Though this summary doesn't say anything about Ted and Robin at all.
No.
Because like their whole relationship is starting, you know.
I was gonna say their whole
runs side by side with the whole Marshall thing, which I think is interesting. So this episode comes with a commentary on the DVD.
Ooh.
And during said commentary, they revealed that apparently the original plan was to break Ted and Robin up after like 8 episodes.
That makes sense to something I've seen later on in the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently it wasn't meant to last very long in this, but they changed their mind. I mean, obviously they don't last forever, but they last more than 8 episodes. And yeah. So we start off the episode, Future Ted. He starts off picking up right where we left off at the end of season 1. The kids, they want him to skip to the end, man. They're impatient. You know,
his son just wants to take a piss.
That's right. You know, his daughter says that feels like that we've been sitting here for a year, which is hilarious.
I mean, those are always the gags that I love the most. Like, you know, oh, we feel like we've been sitting here for a year, or you know, like, yeah.
Yeah. So something I thought was interesting. Now, we know that that Carter and Craig did not have a 9-year plan for this show. You know, I mean, originally their plan was like, if they didn't get picked up, have it only last 13 episodes. Like they were just kind of going with the flow for a lot.
Yeah.
Like they knew how they wanted to end it, but they didn't know how long it was going to go. So it's obvious when you look back inside of the show that the kids have no idea what year Ted met their mother. Because they know, he states that at the beginning that he starts the story in 2005.
You're absolutely correct.
And he says the date several times when he narrates. And even at the beginning of this episode, he says it's 2006. So if they knew that him and Tracy met in, was it 2013?
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be like, wait a minute, that's like 8 years. Why are you telling us 8 years before you even met Mom?
That's actually a really good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's obvious that, you know, outside of the continuity of the story, the showrunners didn't have I don't think they knew that they were going to meet in 2013 specifically. But still, when you look back throughout the whole show, that just means that the kids had no idea when they actually, like, what year they met. Not, you know, let alone they spent all that time together. These kids are, you know, in their teens, and they never heard the story of how they met.
You ever tell your kid about how you and her mom met?
I mean, not yet. I think I'll wait till she's a little older, seeing as this one involved some adult beverages and things of that nature. I don't want to have to
help. I'm gonna have to come help you tell the story.
I don't want to have to explain that yet.
When Mommy was drunk and was just showing her breasts to everybody.
You know. That's how people roll. So he tells a quick recap of the end with him and Robin getting together, and Marshall and Lily breaking up. We get to see that the ending from season 1.
Yeah, but we actually get to see Marshall and Lily actually break up too, not just
we get to see like the fight, and we get to see Marshall essentially put his foot down, you know, and say that if you leave, that's it. You know, if you're gonna do this, then we're done.
Because this is usually where I start watching the show, like, because I hate season 1 and like the way it ends.
Yeah.
Do you think Marshall overreacted at all in his fight with Lily?
I mean, I feel like maybe he could have been a little bit more cool-tempered, but in general, no. You know, like, I get that she wants to find herself, but she's saying she doesn't want to be with him during that time. That's what she's saying. You know, she's saying that she can't do it if she's still with him and talking, and they're talking like, no.
Now, not trying to get too headed in this part of the episode either, but so we know for a fact that when she goes to, San Francisco, there's nobody else. Marshall, on the other hand, goes on a small series of attempted dates.
That's true.
What do you think about that one?
I mean,
I know that, yes, they're technically broken up, but like...
And it took him a while to get to that point.
It really did.
You know, because he doesn't actually start dating, like going on dates, until the next episode.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And so it's almost 2 months. You know what I mean?
3.
Before... Yeah, well, it's more, I shouldn't say almost, it's over 2 months.
Yeah.
Before that thought is even there. You know,
and honestly, I don't even know that he would have started dating had it not been for the guys pushing him into it.
Yeah. And when we get to we'll get to the next episode, obviously. When we get there, I have, because, you know, as the fans know, we tend to record a couple episodes at a time. So I already have notes for the next episode. And I have things to say when it comes to that and some continuity errors that happen later on in the series. But we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. And you guys will have to wait till the next episode to hear all of that.
Tune in next week.
That's right. Tune in next Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's right.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same pineapple time, same pineapple channel.
Oh, man, that's a good one. I like that.
I know. Same ducky time, same ducky channel.
Yes.
So we flash over to the apartment, and Marshall is about to call Lily. Ted, he ain't going to let that happen, though. Then Robin comes in. She's real excited. You know, she wants to tell everybody about her and Ted, but Ted stops her because she doesn't know what happened. And I have something to say about this.
Okay.
Lily and Robin are supposed to be best friends. Yet she breaks off her engagement, moves to San Francisco, and doesn't bother to tell her best friend?
Didn't even say goodbye.
Nothing. Not a word. And she doesn't see her.
And it's never mentioned.
No.
I thought about that today.
Pisses me off. And I've mentioned it a few times. Because like she doesn't see her until the next episode. And I'll have stuff to say then as well. But yeah, it really bothered me because she didn't just dump Marshall. She dumped the entire friend group.
Yeah.
Which I think is extra fucked up.
I mean, I think in retrospect, like I understand maybe Barney, not saying so much to Barney, even though he plays a big part in her coming back.
He does.
But I think that overall, the retrospect of, like you said, that's supposed to be her best friend, and she up and fucking just walked on her.
Yeah.
And then
out the door.
Never actually fully congratulates her in the run on dating Ted either.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So then Barney comes in, and he's actually there to console Marshall. Like, he's being a real friend, which
yes.
He's still being Barney.
Now,
but he's being a friend, and he's got himself a little agenda.
This is my favorite part of the episode.
Okay.
Because I love how going with how you tell it. So Barney's like, you guys, this is a monumentous moment for us. He's like, for the first time ever, all three of us are single at the same time. And he proceeds to go on this little diatribe about how, like, whenever there's a single girl, they'll be there.
Yeah.
When tears are being shed and a girl's upset, they'll be there. When a bachelorette party's in a limousine and some girl's at the sunroof screaming, "What's up, New York?" they will be, "What's up, New York?" And that line fucking floored me. And I watched this show God knows how many times. And tonight, for some reason, that line hit me so ridiculous. Where he's just like, we will be what's up, New York. And I'm like,
it's a great line, man.
But then I noticed something, because this is what made me think about it. He's got his hand on Ted and touches Robin, and that's when it happens.
Yeah.
Barney Stinson, magic senses picked up. Ted and Robin are dating. And he says it instantly. He's like, "Oh, you guys did it."
Yeah, you guys did it.
And I love
he doesn't even say that they're dating. He just knows that they had sex.
He's got those abilities like that. Like, he reads people so well.
Yeah. And at least when it comes to stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So I really love that whole little scene right there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like his little speech and, "What's up, New York? We will be what's up."
We will be what's up, New York. That's a great one. It's so good. So then we get a montage of the first month of this new relationship and of the breakup of Marshall and Lily. They kind of go back and forth, showing like the similarities, like being in bed all the time and not wearing pants and things like that. And while Ted and Robin are kind of being all cutesy as they're going, they kind of get out of this montage. I think they're at the various times throughout. They're just being cutesy throughout the montage. Barney has this thing that he does where he pretends to kill himself.
Yes,
which is funny because during the audio commentary, I found out Carter and Craig revealed that they just told Neil to pretend to off himself, and they just let him make up shit on the fly.
Really?
Yeah.
My favorite.
So like he did the gun, he does the noose, and then a little bit.
Noose is my favorite one because he just like pulls it tight and he's like.
And then a little bit later, he does the samurai sword.
He does. And one of my favorite things is that when he does the noose, he commits, because I don't know if you noticed it, but he like lifts himself up a little bit and he
does like a little swing. Yeah.
It's ridiculously crazy.
He is so good at that, like physical comedy like that.
He is, but I mean that's also Neil Patrick Harris too. Like you can't take away what he does.
Yeah, man. It's. I love that they just kind of let him go, just let him do his thing. That's what
it's kind of like Neil Flynn when he was on Scrubs. Sometimes you just gotta let the actors. And then I really noticed that this episode and second episode really start to dive into the characters rounding their who they are out.
Yeah.
Barney starts doing a lot more of the magic stuff. There's a lot more of the legendaries. You see a lot more of the physicality of the plays and how the plays play out. And it's just really cool. You see more of Marshall's law side and his love of funk come out in this episode.
Yeah,
and at the same time, you can
see stuff about Robin, and you learn stuff. Yeah, you learn stuff about everybody. And I really like that.
Really cool because this is where they're like, okay, we have the characters. Let's polish them up a little bit. Let's let them shine. Let's give them all these little things, and dominoes are starting to get set up, and I love it.
Yeah. So we get to day 22. And we learned that Marshall, he can't bring himself to eat pancakes, man.
Yeah.
As this was something that Lily would always make for them. And Marshall, he loves food.
Yep.
He's a food guy.
Yep.
Ted asks him, well, what are you going to eat? He's like, I'll just have,
I'll have a beer.
I'll have a beer. You had that for dinner last night.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have leftovers. And he just pulls a beer out of the couch.
Out of the couch. Which means that shit is warm and possibly has fucking dirt and debris in it.
It was so... See, you say that the We Are What's Up New York made you bust. Him pulling that beer, because I had forgotten about it. It's been a while since I watched season 2.
Fair.
And he moves the cushion.
Yeah.
And then pulls the beer out, and I lost it.
Yeah,
I just started laughing so much. I thought it was hilarious.
I love that.
He has to struggle to get it out.
Oh yeah,
everything he does in that moment was perfection from Jason Segel. It was great.
I will say that was pretty hilarious too, because I just love how Ted's like, well, what do you want for breakfast? He's like, I have a beer. He's like, no,
You
that's
had
what
that
you
for
had
dinner last night. Well, then I
All
guess
right,
I'll have
well, I just have
leftovers.
leftovers.
Oh man, that's so funny. That's some quality writing right there.
Now I noticed something too, because well, we'll get to it when we get there, but
Okay. Well, I'm excited.
Trust me. I got a couple of my own notes for this episode.
Good. I'm glad. I always like to hear your notes as well. So then we get to day 31, a full month. We've been doing going through all this, and we are at the bar. Barney is telling Ted and Robin, like why Marshall is so lucky. He's gotten rid of, as he calls Lily, the redheaded tumor.
The little redhead.
The little redheaded tumor, and Barney has a suggestion for Marshall. No. Just stop being sad.
Oh, yeah.
Because whenever he is sad, he stops being sad and being awesome instead. Yeah, he starts being awesome instead. And I love that line. I didn't realize it was this early on.
Yeah,
because I remember that line. That line has always been in my head. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, does he say that later on? I'm not 100% sure.
I did not say it a couple different times.
Because I didn't remember it being so early in the show. So it was real fun to kind of experience that line again.
You're fun.
Yeah, I am. So then Ted starts kind of going off about Lily. He's pissed about her, everything that she's done. And then Robin defends her. And again, a month, it's been a month after she left. There's been no communication at all from Lily. And Robin is still defending her. It's like, bitch, she bailed on you too, and you're still defending her.
Yeah, I mean, it's shitty because
I just don't think I could do it, man. Like, I don't know.
Okay, well, think about it like this: me and you had a rift back in 2000. It was 2007.
No, it was 2000 and let's see, when did I get? So it would be about 2011, maybe end of 2010.
Nope, talking about the one before that, back when we were dating Mary and Sarah.
Oh, shit, I don't know. I can't remember years.
Yeah, but it was I want to say it was 07, 08.
It'd be 8 or 9.
8 or 9?
Yeah.
So
probably
me and you had that rift between us where it wasn't bad, but we went without talking for a month or two.
I don't even think it was that long.
No. But I mean, still defended you. I mean, it was a horrible communication time.
But there's a difference between getting in a fight and
True.
How about I'm just gone, and you don't hear from me. You don't get any explanation. You don't even know. You hear secondhand that I'm gone.
True.
And you don't hear from me you don't hear from me for over a month.
I'm not watering your plants.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would not be. I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, you know what? Fuck you, buddy. I quit this podcast. Hey, Chris, out.
Well, at least you're telling me. Unlike what Lily did.
I just hit exit.
Yeah. Oh, geez, that'd be hilarious. But then Ted gets distracted by her eyes, and they start making out. Which this sickens Barney. This is where he does the samurai sword, and this is my favorite of the three. Is the samurai because he does a and then he does the blood splatter and everything.
He speaks a little Japanese beforehand too, giving a little or it might have been Korean because I know he knows Korean.
Who knows, man? I feel like he knows a lot of different Asian languages and things. But yeah, I don't know. I love that one so much, and we also got a little something in this portion of the scene that I wanted to talk about. While Ted and Robin are kind of being kind of schmootsy or whatever, she calls him Teddy Bear.
Teddy Bear.
And this contradicts something that we learn later on, in that she hates nicknames.
Yes.
And I'm like, really? She's I assume that was just not a thing yet.
That was one of the things I caught. And I was like, she did. She called him straight. She straight out teddy bear.
Yeah, she totally called. Because I mean, later on, she rails Ted, for trying to have a nickname and trying to give her nicknames and stuff like that. Because she's not into that stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, I found out during the commentary they had filmed an alternate version of this scene where instead of Barney trying to kill himself, like pretending to kill himself, he throws a drink at them and just nails Robin in the face.
Huh.
And I'm like, man, I kind of want to see that. They don't put deleted scenes. Like they don't have, they never released. Like you can't even find this stuff online.
No,
they never released deleted scenes for the show, other than the few that came out of season 9, which was like the pineapple incident thing that we learned that we get revealed in season 9, stuff like that. But yeah, which is a big bummer because man, deleted scenes and bloopers and stuff are some of my favorites. I wanted more of that. I'd have been talking about deleted scenes on this show.
Dude, just imagine a DVD set of all 9 seasons worth of the bloopers and deleted scenes.
Dude, I bought the whole series. Like I bought the complete collection. I wanted there to be deleted scenes, but there's not until season 9.
True.
So then we go back to the apartment. Marshall is getting kind of pathetic. He's got a bottle of shampoo that he thinks is Lily's. He's sniffing it.
I found her shampoo.
And it winds up being
Robin's. Like lavender and hope.
That's my shampoo. Then while Ted and Robin are in Ted's bed, they're about to get busy. Ted stops suddenly because he can sense that Marshall's about to call Lily.
Yeah.
And he bolts out of the room and he tackles him to the ground, and I laughed so much at that scene.
I mean, it was, and like it's great sentiment. Yeah. We've both been there though.
But dude, just the way that Ted just takes him down.
Oh, so well.
Was hilarious to me. I loved every second of that. So Marshall promises he's not going to call Lily. He's like, I'm not going to do it, man. But then the next morning, he busts in on Ted and Robin in the shower, and he's like, I did it. I called her.
I'm out.
Yep, I'm out. But she apparently changed her phone number.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that shows you, right, that she had zero intention of having any sort of communication with the rest of the group. Because obviously none of the rest of them knew that.
Yeah, but
Robin didn't know.
It also makes Barney finding her harder to believe.
Well, I don't know, man. He has his ways.
That is true.
You know,
he is an international businessman.
Yeah, he has his ways, and at least he knows what city she's in. You know what I mean?
That is true.
And Marshall even says, there's 4 other Lily Aldrins, but I mean that's only 4. I feel like. Barney's got money. He could have hired a private investigator, or who knows. I don't know if they ever explain how he found her, but I don't think it would have been.
Wait till we get there.
I don't think it would have been too hard for him. We learned, like I said, that there are 4 other Lily Aldrins in San Francisco, which I thought was funny. And then Robin is getting very frustrated at this whole situation, which I don't blame her. Marshall is being, as Ted eventually breaks down and says, is being pathetic.
Yeah.
But she sees it early on. And she says he needs some tough love. He needs to get out of this apartment, and do something. And then we are at the bar. And during this whole time, they're in a completely different booth, I noticed.
Yeah.
Which I know they do that sometimes, but I'm like, give me the booth. Because later on, they're at a table.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why aren't you at the booth? Well, they introduced the booth last season.
Yeah. Well, it's also later on when it's in the next episode when Barney and Marshall are going on the dates. It happens at a table. One of the dates is at a table. And I'm like, why? The booth would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Guy girl on one side, guy girl on the other side.
Yeah. It's give me the booth. So, like I said, Robin suggests getting him out of the apartment, and Barney's whole idea is to take him to a strip club.
Well, his exact words are, Marshall needs to be outside, or needs to see outside.
Yeah.
And then you go to the strip club, it like cutscene goes to the strip club, and you've got the guy who's
needs to see sunshine. That's what it was.
Sunshine. That's what it was. And then the guy's like, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, Sunshine.
You want to know what's funny about that? The guy who says that, the announcer guy, is Craig Thomas.
That's funny. Because I noticed it's the same voice every time they're inside the Lusty Leopard.
Yeah, apparently it's Craig Thomas because he said that on the audio commentary. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. It's like, okay. I guess they couldn't get anybody else. This is also where we get introduced to the idea of the BPEG.
Yes, which comes back after Barney sleeps with Robin.
Yeah.
Right click, save BPEG file.
Yep. Yeah, he says, if you want to start to move on, you got to overwrite, the images of Lily's boobs with images of other women's boobs.
I mean, apparently one of Lily's boobs looks like a seal.
If I could make a good seal sound, I literally was. I thought about it. I was like, should I try it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to even try that. It'll wind up sounding like a wall. It'll wind up sounding like a walrus, which is not a seal. Because a walrus sound.
Your aquatic animals are different.
A walrus sound is what popped in my head. I was like, that is definitely not a seal, and I can't think of what a seal sounds like.
Is the walrus the one that's like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's exactly what I thought of. But so Barney takes him to the strip club. Ted has a different idea. He takes him outside to a baseball game.
Which fair enough. I mean, it's the all-American sport, something to keep your mind off of love, because who the fuck would think that you'd find love at a baseball game?
Well,
and then
it happens because a couple winds up on the big screen. Sometimes they single out people, like a kiss cam kind of thing.
Kiss cam.
And the guy gets down and proposes to his lady.
Dude, I love
this just sets Marshall off, man.
He chucks the fucking hot dog. The girl's covered in mustard.
Dude, it hits her square in the face. Apparently,
she's never
it took
taken
him
a wiener to the face before.
Apparently, it took him several times to do that. Like, he kept missing. He hit somebody else, or it hit her in the shoulder or something. Yeah, apparently he had to do that.
That's really great though that Marshall legit had to throw that then.
Oh yeah,
because they could have. Because you see him throw the hot dog, and then you see it from because you don't actually see him when it hits.
Yeah, they do like a close up, so it could have been anybody.
It could have been anybody, but that's really awesome though that they had Jason Segel throw a fucking hot dog at somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously none of this is working. The guys, they're kind of defeated. They don't know what to do. So Robin has a plan.
Knows what to do, though.
Oh, yeah. She's got a plan.
Robin has her own way of dealing with a breakup. What she calls the only way to deal with a breakup.
And what is that only way?
Firing a gun.
Firing a gun. That's right.
Boom, boom.
She takes him to the gun range. This is where we learn that Robin is super into guns, and Ted is the opposite. He's very against them.
Yes. But to quote Robin, and I'm going to have to do this because it's the only way that makes sense, Ted's never going to find out about this. That sounds really scary when I got a gun in my hand.
I love that. She's not she's not a gun nut. She's a gun enthusiast.
Yeah. Well, I love how she's like, I have the second right to, during her fight with Ted. But there's I have the right to bear arms.
And I mean, technically, she doesn't. And she's not an American citizen.
No, and I thought about that after that episode. I was like, wait, she hasn't become an American citizen at this point yet. So technically, everything she's doing is semi-illegal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure how it works with other people, but you would think it would make sense. That it would...
I mean, there's no way, as a Canadian citizen, she has a gun license in New York.
Yeah, it would.
That would almost be a terrorist act. I'm 95% sure.
I don't know how all that works, but yeah, I feel like he should have to be a citizen.
I mean, maybe I'm misspeaking, but I mean, if any of you people out there know how gun law works, let us know.
Feel free. So Marshall gives it a go. He's hesitant at first, but he gives it a go, and he doesn't know anything about guns, including the fact that they have a recoil. And when he shoots the first shot, it kicks back and clocks him right in the forehead.
I mean, right in the forehead.
Right in the forehead. And what I think is hilarious is that because he does get up, obviously, and he starts popping off rounds. He's like real into it, but he's got a big ass mark on his forehead. I don't know if you noticed it.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I love how he's like, because it makes me think of Tommy Boy, and I'm just like, my face hurts like right here. No, man, you look great.
Not so much here or here, but right about here. Yeah, but yeah, man, he's into it. He's just going to town, just popping off around. Probably picturing Lily's face.
You ever see him do this?
Yeah, with a gun. Yeah,
yeah. Like him and Robin have their moments. Like they go to the Hoser hut, or she goes to Little Minnesota with him.
Yeah.
They have their moments, but never again do you ever see him in the gun range.
It's true. So then we go back to the bar. Ted is thanking Robin for helping Marshall. He obviously doesn't know what happened yet.
Yeah.
And her gift for helping is a weekend away at his uncle's place. Yeah, he's going to take her away for the weekend.
Hell yeah.
So then we get to day 55. They're at the apartment. Marshall offers Ted his car. And then he finds Lily's credit card statement in the mail.
Yeah.
Ted, he knows this is a bad idea. He takes it, tears it up, puts it in the trash. He says nothing good will come of this. Yeah. And then he takes the trash out. And then we go to the bar. We flash over to the bar. And Marshall, and this is the next day, and Marshall has the statement all taped up.
Yep.
Which means he went to the dumpster, fished out the bag, opened it, got all the little pieces out, and then taped it back together.
Then this is because I thought about this when I was watching that. I said, honestly, this one's Ted's fault. If I was Ted, what I would, because he didn't tie that bag off before he took it out the door with him.
Yeah, he just grabbed
it and left. I would have taken the fucking thing out, put it in my pocket, thrown the trash out there. And then I would have either burned that fucking envelope or ripped it up and thrown it out someplace else.
I don't think at this point he realized just how incredibly pathetic he's gotten.
I think Ted was in denial about it.
I don't think for a second he thought that Marshall would dumpster dive and then tape together a fucking credit card statement. I don't think for a second he thought that would happen.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't even know that I would do that, but I mean,
yeah, I was like, damn, dude.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So he's reading over this.
Yep.
And there's some recent charges on her card. Particularly some tickets to a George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars concert, which I thought was awesome because anytime I think of George Clinton, I think of the movie PCU.
Yep.
That's the first time that is how I first became aware of who George Clinton was. And so anytime I hear his name, I see instantly what I think of. Yeah, man.
We want the funk. We want the funk.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty funny. There was a few other funny charges like the Pet Emporium.
Yeah,
I think was on there, and a few other weird ones. Then we get this little daydream sequence where he's kind of talking about what the scenario that he thinks is happening, which is
like she's in a restaurant with George Clinton, which, by the way, the real George Clinton,
dude. Okay, I got a little tidbit about this. Apparently, George Clinton was not the original person they were going to have.
Who was the original?
Sugar Ray.
Oh, that would have been so much better.
And apparently, during the scene, it was going to be like Lily would keep referring to him as Sugar Ray, and he would keep like constantly correcting her, that saying that my name is Mark because that's his real name. But apparently, he refused to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Mark McGrath is a dick.
Yeah. So, and apparently, like somebody who works on the show, their like mom knows George Clinton or is like the agent of George Clinton or something like that, and so that's how they were able to get him.
You know what would have been a really cool? It would have been I guess it would have been a meta reference, but it would have been really cool if they could have had Russell Brand reprise his Aldous Snow.
Oh, dude, that would have been pretty funny.
Like he plays his part on the show because of Jason Segel, and like Jason's like Marshall's like, yeah, she went and saw Infant Sorrow. What? He's like, those guys suck.
I feel like that movie came later.
I think so.
But that still would have been hilarious if it like started there.
I think that George Clinton worked better because by this point, Marshall's already referenced in season 1 that he's a funk fan.
Yeah, it really does help push the whole love of funk.
Yeah.
You know, I really...
And it's kind of a betrayal thing to him because how dare Lily go see George Clinton and the Funky Bunch the
P-Funk All-Stars.
The P-Funk All-Stars without him.
Yeah, man. He was really felt betrayed about that.
Yeah, like fuck the pet place and everything else.
But the pet place comes into play because apparently in this whole thing, George Clinton buys Lily a ferret, and Marshall is apparently afraid of ferrets.
Of ferrets, yeah.
Who knows?
Which kind of an irrational fear, but okay.
Okay, so during that whole scene, I don't know if you noticed this at all, but I watched this and I was like, man, Lily's tan is really dark, and it's like really close to the color of her hair. And it just didn't look good.
Really? No, I hadn't noticed that.
And so when I was listening to the commentary, I found out that's not her hair.
It's a wig?
It's a wig. Because during the off season, Allison Hannigan went to Italy and it became a brunette, which is what we see later on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like in order to show pre-San Francisco Lily, like, the way they would have seen her, she had to wear a wig.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, why would they do that? Well, it's just because they had to, really. Because she got tan and they needed to have that same color hair.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. So Barney makes the situation worse by telling him that he can see more recent charges on the website.
Yeah.
And Marshall just books it right out of the bar.
I love how Ted at this point, too. Ted's like, why? Why do you even talk?
Why? Yeah. It is pretty funny. I don't know if Barney had an ulterior motive doing this.
I don't think so. I think it was just one of those random times where he spoke before he really thought about it.
Yeah, because we do learn, like in the next episode, that he's got ulterior motives. We learn that later on, which we'll talk. I'm not going to dive into the next episode yet, but and he has done other things where he's had ulterior motives.
Oh God, yeah.
Because like when he's kind of when he's trying to get Ted to kind of not hook up with Robin because he's got a thing for her and stuff like that,
Or like when he's leading Robin on thinking that he's dating Patrice.
Yeah, so he does stuff like that a lot. So it made me wonder. I was like, is this part of it? I don't know what his end game would have been with it.
Who knows?
So it probably is just Barney just being an ass at this stage, really, is what it is.
I can see that.
But we head up to the apartment where Marshall is on the computer, and he's looking up the charges, and he discovers one for a hotel in the city.
Yeah.
Which makes everybody assume that Lily has returned without anybody knowing. Ted pulls Barney aside and asks him to watch over Marshall while they're gone on their weekend trip. And while alone, Marshall calls the hotel. Ted tries to stop him, but he can't. And when they connect to the room, a guy picks up. And it crushes Marshall.
Oh yeah.
Like, he is just devastated that some
He's
dude.
like beside himself too. Like,
Yeah. Like, this is where he gets like really bad, and Ted flips out on him and calls him pathetic and just lays into him, saying like, this version of Marshall could never get Lily in a million years. Like,
I have a theory
really
about
lays.
this one. Ted, well, I mean, Ted's frustrated about it at this point.
He
This
is,
is
man.
literally the point, like, like when Marshall talks about how Ted does the breakups and then he always deals with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reverse at this point. This is Ted dealing with Marshall for so long. But at the same time, reverse psychology. Because he's like, you know what? You want Lily back? Well, you ain't going to get Lily back being a whiny little bitch.
Yeah.
Pretty much like fucking snap out of it. Here, look at you, you lazy slut.
But my favorite part of the whole scene is he's like, can we still get the car?
Yeah.
And then Barney, bold move, asking for the car.
Yeah. I love, though, that Marshall, being the compassionate friend he is, still gave him the keys to the Fiero.
He does, man. And we see that in the next scene. We flash over to the car. Ted, he thinks that Robin thinks that he's being too hard on Marshall. And it makes me wonder if what that really says is that Ted actually just thinks that, but he doesn't want to admit it to himself. And I noticed something interesting during the scene. They got music on in the car.
And it's
not 500 miles, man.
That was one of my notes.
Yeah.
It was not, I would walk 5,000 miles.
500 miles. But
yes, 500 miles.
It is definitely not. And that bummed me out, man.
It didn't bum me out as much because this is the first time we see the Fiero.
I know, but like knowing the history of it.
Or the first time that we see it with music on. Because we see Marshall driving it in the Liberty Bell episode.
Mm. Yeah. But like just knowing the history of it.
Yeah.
But even that, I didn't think about that because it's stuck on. You can't even turn it off.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean? So like in that, like it passed by me in the Liberty episode because there just wasn't any music, so I wasn't thinking about it. I think.
Yeah.
It should have been on there too.
Should have been.
And it should have been on here, but it wasn't yet. So like little continuity stuff going on there.
That's okay. It was early.
Yeah. We've caught a lot of like funky continuity stuff in that first season.
I mean, the Fiero is such a minuscule thing to like pick apart. Like, it's okay.
I don't know, man. It's pretty major. It's the most important thing, John. So apparently Marshall also told Ted about the gun range, about how Robin is kind of a gun nut, and so Ted brings that up to her.
Enthusiast?
A gun enthusiast. Ted then goes and calls calls Barney to check in on Marshall, and he's at a strip club.
At a strip club.
And Marshall is gone.
Yep.
Yeah, he thought he was sitting next to him.
I love how Barney devises a plan, too. They go and look for Marshall, and he's going to get a lap dance.
He's going to get a lap dance.
Already getting.
He is, man. He's already in, and it looks like, hey, man, I'll take one.
Also, did you see there's a 2-time running gag in this show?
Yes.
This episode. And it's, the first one is when Ted and Robin are about to have sex. And he's like, uh-oh. And she's like, already?
Already?
And then during this scene,
Barney
goes, uh-oh. And the stripper goes, already? I was like,
yeah, it's a great, it's the 1-2 punch, but it's a fun little. Oh
run. God, yeah, so quickly delivered too.
Yeah,
get it, quick delivery,
so quick. So Ted has to cancel the plans for the weekend.
Yep.
And he goes and finds Marshall at the hotel. He doesn't bring Robin, so I'm assuming he dropped her off first.
Well, and that's just one of the things I noticed too. This is one of those things that leads to them breaking up in the future too, is that he doesn't put her first. Like, granted, I mean, whatever happens with Marshall is what happens with Marshall, but like, Ted dropped everything to just go help Marshall.
Yeah, it's true. And he could have brought her with him.
Could have.
You know what I mean? And he's just like, I'm gonna drop you off. I'm just gonna go. You can stay alone.
Yeah.
It's like you could have involved her.
I mean,
really,
they still could have done the weekend.
yeah, they could have. Go
I
and
mean,
get him
I
and
don't
then
know
go.
why they had to cancel the entire weekend to go help Marshall.
Yeah, they could have been like, okay, Barney, stick to it. Damn it, no strip
Right?
clubs, and then they could have left again. But he just doesn't. And so he finds him at the hotel bar, and Marshall tells Ted that he went up there, and a guy opened the door, and he just punched him in the face.
Punched him straight in the face.
But it's not Lily's boyfriend, we find out.
Nope. And then we
Oh,
backtrack to finding out the actual story of this guy. And it's a whole fucking twisted story about how stolen identity, and he pretty much charged up on Lily's credit card. And
yeah.
But
He's some
it
sort of
sucks, though,
identity
because,
thief. Yeah.
Marshall feels like he's let down because he thought this was going to be, his reuniting with Lily. And it means Lily is not in New York.
Yeah, and he's like he says, the whole credit card thing, that was the only way he knew what she was doing. Now he doesn't know where she is, what she's doing, how what's going on. He's got nothing now.
Nothing.
So after a talk from Ted, Marshall finally kind of seems to come to terms with that fact that she's gone. We think that he's finally come to terms with that. But then the next day, he slides right back into that slump.
Because he found a sock.
So I have a little side note here. During that scene at the bar, Ted tells a story about meeting Marshall for the first time.
Yes, I was going to talk about this too.
Okay, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
He talks about how the first time he meets him, he's on the Marshall's on the bed, and he's like headphones on and his feet up against the wall, and Marshall's like, yeah, I thought you were the dean. And he's like, just to be honest, I was high that day.
Yeah.
And most of that, when we get the future episode, most of that is in that episode, except for Marshall with headphones on and shit.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he doesn't have his headphones on. He's not like. I don't even think he's on the bed.
No, he's sitting at his desk.
He's quote unquote eating a sandwich, which is something that comes in later on. But yes, he does. He thinks he's the dean. And I thought that was cool that they brought that back.
Well, they don't bring it back. This is the first time we hear that.
Well, no, I'm saying they bring it back in the when they show this, when they actually show it.
No, you're 100% right. And yes, I'm glad that it didn't change either. Like,
yeah, apparently during the commentary, they revealed that they originally wrote a version of that scene, the meeting scene, where Marshall went weeks without realizing Ted was not the dean. Like weeks of him of Marshall thinking that he's living with the dean.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, huh. I kind of want to see what that would have looked like. I kind of want to read that, because it's written somewhere. Yeah. So then we get to day 67. Ted and Robin get up. They find Marshall. He's awake, and he's making pancakes
and bacon
for the first time in 2 months. He seems okay.
Yep.
Now, these apparently are disgusting pancakes, but they're pancakes nonetheless.
And my final note for this episode is they're sitting there eating as like the three of them.
Yeah.
Ted does not have bacon on his plate.
No bacon for you, Ted.
Well, no, but think about it. In season 9, during the one episode, they need to have more bacon cooked. And Ted's like, I can't eat bacon. I'm allergic to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ted's always thought he's been allergic to bacon. So I noticed, though, that during them eating the breakfast, there's a big plate of bacon on the table, but Ted isn't eating any.
Huh. Interesting. That's a good catch because I definitely did not
you.
catch that. That's a fantastic catch, actually. I like that a lot. Look at that. That is a great way, a great final note for you, Johnny boy. So then, as future Ted says, the only thing that can mend a broken heart is time. And that is what we see here. Just over 2 months worth of time. Marshall's
What's really
finally
funny
starting to heal.
is that during a future episode, Barney says a very similar line to that. It's the game show episode where Lily and Marshall are doing their wills and have to figure out who's going to be a godparent.
Yeah.
And it's time can heal. How does the line go? Time
can heal all wounds.
But not that bitch's window. And he launches the brick when he's talking to Marvin.
But not that bitch's window. Oh, man. So then we flash over to the bar for the final scene. The gang's all sitting and laughing at a table.
A table.
And then the camera kind of pulls forward toward the window by the front door, and we see Lily outside. Yep. She approaches the door. She sees them. She's about to go in, and then she changes her mind. Leaves. And that's the end of the episode. Season 2, episode 1. Where were we? All right, John. So what were your thoughts on season 2, episode 1?
I mean, this is a really great season opener. Like I said, this is typically where I start watching the show. You get the launch of Ted and Robin. You get the return of Lily. You get, Marshall being a sad, sapless sack who can't even cook a fucking simple pancake. True. And you get classic Barney. Overall, I would say this is a solid A+ episode. Definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It just really sucks that at the same time, though, like, you don't get any of Lily in this episode at all.
Yeah.
Like, you get the little bit of, like, when they think about what she might be doing, and you get the end scene. But, like, I love this episode overall, though, because it's just hilarious. And, you got a lot of fun little one-liners in there, like the, "What's up, New York?"
Yeah, it's a fantastic season opener. It really is.
Honestly.
Not even just for How I Met Your Mother, but like as a series season opener, I think it's a damn good one.
And one of the things I liked about the first few seasons, they really did it was like the season would end and the next season would pick up right where the last one left off.
Yeah,
and I know season 1 did it. Season 2, I believe, ends with the jump. I believe it's the jump, or no?
It all blends together for me.
Yeah. I know there's literally one where he's like, "Wait for it," and then they come back and
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, this is a great episode. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, man, I absolutely love this episode. A lot of great comical moments in this.
Yes.
A lot of good back and forth, and we get to see the kind of the flip side of what we got in season 1, where it's Marshall is in the happy relationship, and Ted is the ever looking for love, kind of down in the dumps guy, and now it's flipped.
That is true.
We get to see a bit of that for a while, so I kind of like that they went that route, even though I hate what they did with Marshall and Lily. I do like the kind of the role switch that they did here. So, all right, so seeing as that is the end of the episode, it is now time for everybody's favorite segment, Barney's Blog. That's right, folks.
That's
Barney's Blog.
Bitches.
We are back, and this one is titled Barney Palooza 2006. And it was dated Tuesday, September 19th of 2006. And Barney tells, he kind of writes this blog about, how his friend Marshall spent the entire summer depressed over a girl. And he puts in here, Ted, meanwhile, was also depressed. And by depressed, I mean in a committed monogamous relationship, which I thought was pretty damn funny. So he says Barney says, I took some time this summer to explore the towering peaks and lush valleys found outside Manhattan and took my awesomeness on tour. Perhaps you caught my act. If you caught anything else, my apologies.
Ah,
And so he kind of gives off his list of where he went for his Barney Palooza American tour of 2006.
okay.
So he did Pennsylvania. Says, I managed to get mine in Allentown while husbands dug for coal all day. Ohio, he says, Ohio both begins and ends with, oh, what up? Nebraska participated in a corn husking festival as the corn.
Yeah.
Kansas, topographers call this state the flattest in the union. I beg to differ. Oregon, state animal is the noble beaver, and that's a fact. and when I read this, I instantly thought of the beaver song.
Two beavers are better than one. They're twice the fun. Ask anyone.
I'm excited to get to those episodes. But anyways, then we got Texas. There's more than one type of star in the Lone Star State. Florida, Golden Girls. I'm wondering if that just means he hit it with a bunch of old ladies. Maybe.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it sounds like. North Carolina, chicks there are smoking menthol lights.
Yes!
Virginia, old slogan, Virginia is for lovers. New slogan, Virginia is for acrobatic lovers. All right.
Okay.
And then District of Columbia, erected my own monument all over our nation's capital.
Yes.
And then he ends it with, for those of you who in quotes, participated in my tour and would like something more permanent to commemorate the occasion, I am proud to offer this 100% cotton, high-quality T-shirt. Email orders only, don't call. And it's got Barney Stinson at yahoo.com.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
No, think about this. That blog's a cover story.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Because this takes place after the episode. Right? Technically the day after the episode.
Well, no, it says, that's when he wrote the blog.
So, think about this. Lily shows up at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
He would have needed a reason to have been gone for a couple of days.
So you're saying that his tour
was him going
over
to get
the
Lily.
summer was him going to get. That's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he also.
Oh, and by all means,
he had to travel that way.
He had to travel that way, but yeah, his summer palooza was to go get Lily, not just sleeping with people.
Huh. I'll be honest, I hadn't thought about it that way, and that's brilliant.
You should take this blog entry, tweet it at Carter and Craig, and see if they'll give us an answer.
I will absolutely do that after we are done with this, because I think that's awesome, and hopefully we do get an answer. We may not hear. You guys may not hear for a couple of episodes, but if I get an answer, I will tell you. All right, so that wraps up everything for this episode. We got season 2, episode 1. Where were we? John, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, I mean, you can find me on Twitter. I'm still at the same place. It's at Simply Sane J1. It corresponds with my personal podcast, which I haven't posted an episode now in forever. But I do have a blog that corresponds with the podcast, and I've been posting on that almost weekly.
No, it's not called. It's not called Johnny's blog.
Nope, it's not called Johnny's blog. It is called Simply Sane with Jay. The podcast is Not Your Mama's Podcast, and I should really just call the other part of it Not Your Mama's Blog.
Sure. I mean, your podcast is still Simply Sane with Jay.
Yeah. Both of them are Simply Sane with Jay. It's just me venting about my life. It should be
Simply Sane with Jay, the Not Your Mama's Blog. That's what the other one should be called.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's me. I'm very easy to find. You can find me on Twitter, find me on Facebook. If you're old school, you can drop me an email. And for those of you who don't know what an email is, how? But
How are they going to send you an email if they don't know your email address?
I don't give out my email address. But it's on Facebook.
Just guess, people. Just guess.
I mean, it's literally my first name _ last name at hotmail.com.
Well, there you go, folks. He just gave it away. He just blew his load all over this episode. You can find me at JP Rayner on Twitter as JPRAYNOR, as well as at Movie Blog Merc, which you can see right down there. That is the Twitter page for my site, Merc with a Movie Blog. If you are watching this on the Merc with a Movie Blog YouTube channel, be sure to hit the like if you like what you're watching. Smash that subscribe button and hit that little bell so you always get notified every time we drop a new episode. And be sure to follow Last Call at McLaren's on Twitter at Last Call HIMYM. You can also head over to Anchor, anchor.fm/Last Call HIMYM, and you can leave us a voice message there. If you really like, if you're listening on like the podcasts, head on over to like Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review if you like what you're hearing, and we will read that review on air. Yes. If you do the Anchor voice message, we will play it on air as well. We love hearing from you guys, so definitely reach out anytime you can. And I think that's about it for me. John, what do you got for him?
I mean, grab a cold beer, grab some lemon drops, sit on your couch, because you don't have to go home, but you can't listen here.
That's right, folks. Catch you next time.